What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid is up 2.17%, 1230 the low, 1305 the high, and 3.4 million shares being traded. So today is rather comical. Reason being is that we did have some data that came out first thing that wasn't the greatest. And so the market's kind of digesting that. And it wasn't up until some research firms kind of saying, hey, you know what, this is actually positive and to justify a rate cut. That is how Lucid and many other stocks are starting to move higher because of that epiphany. But initially the market was kind of torn. So you did have ADP employment, the weekly, coming in at negative 13.5 thousand, retail sales 0.2 versus 0.3 the forecast, and then consumer confidence 88.7 versus 94.2. So that was more linked to the labor linked data points. The only positive one that did come out was PPI, and that came in at 0.3 versus a forecast of 0.5. And that of course is linked to more inflation. So in general, the hot topic was labor lately. And it looks like a lot of the data does continue to come in negative. But because of all that, you are seeing a likelihood of a 25 basis point cut now at 84.9%. So pretty good stuff. Again, all of this information came out early this morning. It just was, market was torn, right? We did have negative data. So people are getting a little bit fearful over that. But on the opposite end, you have a stronger chance of a rate cut. And like I said, it wasn't up until some research firms kind of coming out saying, hey, you know what, this is actually good for the broader market. Then people just have this weird epiphany. So kind of comical ultimately. But today, no news from Lucid, no SEC filings. Only thing that really came out was this right here. So a video of Prince Sultan bin Salman, if I'm saying that right, just obviously in a gravity. And so I think in general, like I've mentioned in the past, it's AMP2 and Saudi Arabia. That is going to really what propels Lucid higher. I get a lot of people really want like Lucid to stay like American and just have that kind of imagery, but it is going to be AMP2 and what they can do that's going to really push Lucid higher because of all the tariffs and kind of geopolitical risks associated to the States. It's AMP2 that's going to really be able to ship on a global scale and kind of work a way around the tariffs, which similarly Faisal Sultan did mention in his late October interview as well. So in general, I think this is pretty good stuff. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Shorts right now are increasing 334,000 shares. When I was looking at Lucid first thing, conveniently shorts were returning almost about 700,000. But because of this kind of pop right here, it did wake up shorts. So because of that, like I said, now they're increasing about 334,000. 29.86% of the free floats being shorted, works to be 43.01 million shares overall being shorted. So Friday is going to be a big day for this type of data, as I've mentioned on my video over the weekend. Because of the whole Thanksgiving type of scenario, a lot of American firms actually take Friday off. So for instance, if shorts don't do anything on Friday, then it is fair to assume on a daily basis it's like Lucid's mostly shorted by American companies. But if we still do see a lot of activity, then it is fair to assume that it's going to be a foreign entity. So whether it be Canadian, European, or whatever, they are going to be kind of the primary reasons and who is shorting Lucid. So just wanted to kind of share that with you. So stay tuned for Friday's video. Aside from that though, we have roughly around 377,000 in calls, 1.1 million in puts, and then 52% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly about 1350. Bears are anticipating for it to be kind of interesting kind of data right here, but sub 1450. So it looks like they somewhat are anticipating a little bit more of a minor push higher, possibly. When it comes down to it, I always like to look at where volume does come from. As per usual, most of the volume is coming from algorithmic trading, and you can kind of see that based on the flow right here. And that's been more of a common occurrence for a while now. And roughly around 2 days ago or so, I mentioned that we could see a nice push higher, similar to what happened in September. September, there wasn't really all that much in news associated to Lucid. Rather, it did recover because of algorithmic trading. So I think a similar type of price action might be occurring again, so we might be seeing a nice push higher. So I'll go over some levels to kind of watch for in a second, but you're not really seeing that much in institutional transactions. So far, only 3 on the secondary market, all of which are institutions selling. So big money is not really the reason why Lucid's moving higher, rather it's algorithmic trading. And this is one thing that, in my opinion, is rather frustrating about Lucid, is that they love to use Twitter and other forms of social media to put out their random PRs and just kind of posts and stuff like that, but they do not use this right here. Rather, last couple PRs have been more associated to the offering, so the convertible note. And when it comes down to that, algorithmic trading is a huge deal in the market nowadays, and it picks up on positive news, negative news, and stuff like that, and articles, for instance. Lucid can do itself a favor, and there's a lot of things that they can actually talk on, saying, hey, we did this update, blah, 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 we did this and this. They can just put out official news, and then algorithmic trading will pick up on that and really push it higher. Some companies kind of abuse that, and they do what I like to call PR blitzes, where they put out news every single day, and they use a lot of the hot like hashtags and tags and whatever, just so AI will pick up on it. So I think Lucid definitely does need to start doing more PR. Because like I said, other than their convertible notes and their earnings, they haven't really put out anything like concrete for actual news. So I think that there's a lot of good opportunity for them. But aside from that, these are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool above $100,000. So still not too much activity on this exchange right now. With it at 12.94, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So I'm looking at the 1 minute chart on a side note, so it is kind of more tight knit, so you can kind of use this for support and resistance points if you're dollar cost averaging, swing trading. But 12.62 and then 11.61 is going to be support levels. 13.62 and 14.24 is going to be the next on target / resistance points. Aside from that, on the actual chart, like I said, I think the last couple of trading days recovery, you've seen a lot of algorithmic trading really pushing it higher, but one key level to watch for is this 10-day moving average, and that's currently sitting at 13.39. So if it is able to, for whatever reason, get above that, then you could see some good momentum. And so just kind of watch for that. And then because of the recent price action, looking at stochastic RSI did break off of the oversold status to still considered oversold a little bit. But so there's some more opportunity for that to really move higher. But there really hasn't been that much in articles really talking about Lucid, no new analyst ratings. So it has been merely just piggybacking off of their broader market. So let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What do you think the next big catalyst is? And do you think that we're going to have a similar recovery to what happened in September? Or is this just a bull trap, as what some individuals are kind of forecasting was happening right now? One final thing, if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my stacked account. I did lower the pricing on the tiers for Black Friday. So if you're wanting to join and get some on-point bangers, definitely pop over there and check that out. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.